Hello there, nice to have you again. And this is Module 7. I want to congratulate you for your consistency thus far. In the sixth module, we talked about social skills. And in discussing social skills, we talked about communication. We talked about the importance of eye contact, the importance of occasional nods, the importance of questions for the sake of clarity. And we also said um, to communicate with power, we must think before we talk. We must take notes if there is need. We must ask questions, and we must be genuinely interested. We also talked about listening, and we said listening is an art. We said most people hear, but they don't listen, and we said listening is an active thing. Okay, it's something that has to be done deliberately. It's a deliberate act. We talked about listening as a skill that needs to be learned, and we said when we can do all this, we get better at leadership, we get better at conflict resolution, we get better at managing people, at building teams, and we get better at being someone who is socially skilled. All right, so this is the seventh module, and we'll still be taking a part of what we've started. In this module, we're going to be talking about the non-verbal communication. Non-verbal communication. I know that if on your phone you see an icon, the hashtag icon, it communicates something to you. When you see a little bird, blue, like a parrot or whatever it looks like, it might be telling you something like Twitter. Okay, when you see an envelope, it doesn't need to talk, but it's already telling you this is a mail. Okay, so all these are examples of non-verbal communication. They are not saying anything, but they are communicating to you. When you see a sign on the road, they are traffic signs. They are all means of communication non-verbally, but nonetheless they pass information across to us. So non-verbal communication is a very key element in communication, and that's what basically we're going to be looking at in this particular model. So it's a major part of human interaction. There is no way we'll interact with ourselves without the use of non-verbal communication. There are some, or most of them, go along with our verbal communication. They go along to lend credence to what we're saying. They go along to emphasize what we're saying. They go along to show our sincerity or lack of it. So in communication, it has become an integral part of our day-to-day living, in the process of communicating. So we need to be very conscious of our non-verbal communications, because they carry, like we said, remember the 738-55 rule, our body language carries a whopping 55%. So in our communication, we have to be conscious of that. We have to be conscious of our body language, because most times, okay, many times over, it's not about what we say, it's about how we say it. You may want to remember that. Okay, it's not about what we say, but how we say it. So non-verbal communication comes in diverse ways. We'll just try to mention a few, but they come in diverse ways. It can be the eye contact, it can be the furrow on the head, it can be the folding on the head, it can be the movement of the eyebrow or the eyelashes, it could be the tweaking of the nose, it could be the movement of the hands, it could be the posture, the body posture, it could be the sitting position, it could be the way I'm crossing my legs, it could be the way I'm tapping my feet or the way I'm tapping my hand, it could be the way I'm scratching my nose, it could be a lot of things. It could be the way I smell. I could be passing a message with the way I smell. It could be the use of humor. It could be the way I touch, the tender touches, okay, or it could be the way I carry myself in silence. It could be my appearance, the way I dress, the way I I walk. They are all non-verbal communications. Okay, they are all non-verbal communication. And talking about the way I walk, it just comes to my mind. The way a tout will walk is different from the way someone who is an executive will walk. Maybe you're doubting me. So now look at it. Imagine someone who claims to be an executive or is going for an executive meeting, dressed in a suit and tie, and is walking like that tout. There's a conflicting information. You're seeing, an executive, but the executive is also telling you, even though he's not saying it, that I'm a tout. This is what nonverbal communication has the capacity of doing for us and with us. Okay, so nonverbal communication could be the expression of the face. All right, if I'm doing this, it's a sign that you're welcome. It's a sign that I'm even happy with myself. And if I'm doing this, it's a sign that I'm displeased, perhaps angry. Okay, so there are different facial expressions to depict anger, to depict sorrow, to depict ecstasy, to depict dejection and rejection. So all of this comes together to form that part of communication that is non-verbal. All right. So you're asking me, how are you? That's the question you just asked me. And I go this way. I am fine. You get to know that something is wrong. Even though I'm saying I am fine, but my body is saying something else. The disposition you can see is contrary to my verbal alterations or utterances. Okay, so body language or non-verbal communication is a huge part in our communication. Okay, when we are not talking, our body is communicating in a way. Our facial expression is communicating. Our feet might be communicating. So I give you another example. If you come to my office and we are having a talk, we are having a discussion, and you're talking to me, and you say, can I continue? And you ask if you can continue. And I say, continue, you are not bothering me. Continue. And I'm doing that. Can you hear that tap? And I'm doing this. Even though I'm saying, continue, keep talking. And I'm doing this. So it's either of two things. Oh, what you are saying is sinking. I'm connecting with what you are saying. Or you're wasting my time. Hurry up and get out of here. Okay? So we need to be skilled in our ability to have this understanding, okay, of the conscious and unconscious means through which we communicate to people. So it is possible for people to say, but I heard you or I saw you say this, and you say, no, I never did. And you will allude to the fact that you did because he was able to pick it from what you were saying, but not actually verbalizing. All right. So when people roll their eyes, it's a form of communication. Okay, people roll their eyes when you're talking to someone and the hands are folded. Okay, this might look like a sign of aloofness in some instance, and it could also be a sign of insecurity in some instances. It's like I'm looking for something to secure me. I'm looking for a fortress. Okay, so we should be able, based on circumstance and situation, to understand these cues from non-verbal communication. So it could be the hands on the waist, you're standing akimbo. That could mean, even though we're just having a conversation, that could be a defensive outlook. All right, that could mean somebody is not ready to give in, whatever you want to say. Even though the man is showing someone who is malleable, who is ready to yield. He's saying, okay, I'm here for peace, and he's standing akimbo, you know. That may be, that posture might be a defensive one, saying whatever happens here today, I'm not giving in. Okay, it could be feet tapping. If I'm tapping my feet, it could mean I'm hastening you up. So we need to have, there are a whole lot of them, okay, and they are different from individual to the others. It could be shaking of the knees, it could be biting of the nails. So if you're talking to me and I'm consistently biting my nails, it might mean that I'm fidgety, it might mean that I'm nervous, it might mean that I'm uncomfortable. Okay, so there are different kinds of body language, and these ones are just tips to understanding what they really are, so that when we are encountering them, we can manage them successfully. So how do you manage your body language? You should manage your body language such that whatever you're saying verbally matches or is in sync with what your body is saying silently. Whatever my mouth is saying should correlate with what my body is also saying silently. It means there should be a coordination between my verbal utterances and my body utterances, because my body too is uttering some words, as it were, is passing across a communication. So there should be harmony. All right, so how do we get this harmony? It might be something you want to practice so that you have a hold of it, so that you're able to control, harmonize your body language with whatever you're saying per time. You might also want to ask others for feedback. There are some things we say that has become a part of us, or there are habits we have grown up with that has become a part of us, and they could be detrimental to our effective communication. So you might need to get feedback from people by asking, what do you think about this or that and this? You might also want to find role models who are already a picture of what you want to look like, who are already a picture of what you want to be like. You might need to get one or more of them so that you can mirror yourself. You can mirror them in a way, and also get to know this. So body, the way you walk too, like we said earlier, is a form of communication. So you walk with confidence. All right, walk with panache. Okay, carry yourself with pride. Okay, you don't slouch when walking, drab looking. When you walk into any place that way, you have already, even though you have the best of intelligences, you've already sold yourself out as someone who is maybe incompetent, someone who is beggarly, someone who is begging for acceptance, who is begging for people's validation, someone who is incapable. All right, you have already passed that message across. You have passed the message across as someone who does not have confidence in what he has capacity to do. Okay, so from entering the room, you've already spoken to a lot of people. You have already spoken to us all, but you have not yet opened your mouth to speak. This is how strong emotional intelligence in the aspects of body language can be, communication and body language by extension. I said it could be how you smell. So if the smell on you is foul, then without talking, you have told us that you're dirty. You have told us that your hygiene routine is very poor. You have told us that you're someone who doesn't care about your health, about your well-being, about yourself. By extension, we begin to think about the way your home looks, right? And conversely, if you smell right, well, of course, for those who are skilled in that aspect, you know that perfumes, deodorants, body sprays, and all that, they come in different dimensions. There is a way you will smell, and you will almost pass for an arrogant person, because the volume and the potency of the smell is so shocking and so imposing, and you just more or less come across as someone who is arrogant. So a lot of all these things goes a long way to count in our communication. So you get to that office after everybody has shocked, right from the stairway, from the um, um, elevator up, everybody had shocked, and you get to that person you want to speak with, you want to meet with, and it's already, the person too is shocking, and it just feels like everything you now say will now be assessed based on the prior communication that you have given, which you did not give. You did not say anything, but some opinions have been formed based on your body language, which is a non-verbal communication, and anything you are now saying is now put upon the foundation of that premeditated opinion of you. So he or she has already concluded that you are arrogant. So now you're saying, in XYZ year, we did this kind of job too, and we did it successfully. I'm very sure that we can also do it for you, and you will love our job. The results are there to share, to show. It's not seeing someone who has confidence in what he can do. Rather, is seeing someone, which might be wrong, someone who is arrogant. This guy is arrogant. He must be arrogant. I knew it. That's why he's trying to talk this way and all that. Okay, so we need to be conscious of that. We need to work smartly. We need to carry ourselves well, not like a sack of rotten tomatoes or something rejected that has to be begged to be accepted. You don't have to drag your feet on the floor when walking. Okay, learn to walk with your shoulders square and be be able to look straight when you're walking. When you're communicating with people, or you're meeting people, or you're exchanging handshakes, be able to look into their eyes and make your handshake a firm one, even though not a vice grip. Okay, we are not trying to break bones here. Okay, but let your handshake let it have life, not like what we call a dead fish handshake. Your hand is not just limping inside his, as if he was holding a dead fish. Put some life into your handshake. It passes an information of confidence. There is a president I know, a sitting president now, who shakes with power, with vigor. In fact, he will not only shake you, he will shake your body. All right, even though that might be the extreme, but I'm just trying to say, I think it does his to intimidate people. But I'm just trying to say that when you're exchanging handshakes, it has to have life, and shaking women might be the exception to that. You don't want to crush their bones. Even for the male folk, it's not about bone crushing. It's just about showing life in that palm, and your hand is not limping loosely like a dead fish in the hand of the next person. So This helps in your communication and in your ability to identify, what is being said, passed across to you. Body languages could be different from place to place. What is acceptable to me here might not be acceptable to others in other climes. So you also need to situate body languages with your environment, with where you find yourself, with where you are, okay, with the neighborhood, okay, with the environment generally. And when I talk about the environment, it could be a social environment, it could be a financial environment, a business environment, it could be a religious environment. All right. There are some religious organizations where you don't put on your shoes to go into the worship center. If you do that, you have already passed an information across. Okay. There are religious organizations where, as a man, you don't put your hat on to enter. When you go in with your heart, you have already passed the wrong information across. You have already passed a certain information across. So be conscious of your environment and where you are, so that you are not missing out on what you should catch in on, and you're not catching in on what you should actually neglect, because it's more like the norm. All right. In some parts of Africa, when you hug someone, it's more like a little beyond the normal, right? But in the Western world, if you're not hugging, people even think you don't like them. Okay, so you need to be conscious of the environment you are in, so that you be able to situate the body language and have a proper understanding of what they are. There's a country in Asia that when they nod side to side means yes. But from the part I come from, when you nod from side to side, it means no. Okay, so I need to be able to situate the body language and the environment I find myself. That way, I will have a proper assessment of what is going on, and my communication will be more effective. My communication will not be misrepresented. It will not be mistaken for what is not intended to be. And this is a bulk of what we need to understand in body language, as we remember the 738-55 rule that says in our communication, 7% is our voice, 38 is the volume, the tone, the pitch, and the depth, or the texture of the voice, while 55 is the non-verbal communication, also known as the body language. So I believe and I hope that from today going forward, we'll be more conscious about our body language, and we'll be more conscious about the environment in which these body languages are spoken. Mind the use of my word spoken, okay? Because our bodies are always speaking, even when we are not talking. I believe it's been an interesting time as usual, and I look forward to seeing you the next time. But before you round up this module, take the quiz, assess yourself, and see how you're faring. Until when next we meet, I say, stay good.